Wait, you know what you're doing?
Yeah, I've knocked that Adolf Hitler over 200 times.
That's how Dad did it. That's how America does it.
Okay, USA.
Go ahead. Make my day.
God bless America.
Happy 4th of July. Welcome to Video Rental, your retro movie hub. As we celebrate our nation's birthday, let's ignite some nostalgia fun with some iconic films from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. From cult classics to blockbuster hits and some infamous flops. We're covering it all. Grab some popcorn, get cozy, and let's dive into the wonderful world of retro cinema together. How you guys doing today?
Great America!
I could hardly hear you over all the freedom. I mean, it's almost deafening.
What'd you guys think of that?
That's nice. Nice intro. I wasn't expecting that one.
I literally made that last night. It was a struggle, but I made it.
Nice.
There you go.
Nice.
Okay, USA.
Okay.
All right.
Brad money.
On today's episode, we are covering Independence Day, 1996. Doug, when was the first time you saw Independence Day?
I was trying to think about that. I know I did see it in theaters. I couldn't remember if it was a Bowcatcher or I couldn't remember which theater. I'm pretty sure it was Bowcatcher when I went and saw it.
Yeah.
That was it's getting close to the end of their run, so it could have been I went to
Oh, no, that was the prime of their run.
96?
Yeah, they lasted till like mid-2000s.
Well,
You walk into Bowcatcher, you're grabbing your back pocket, holding on to that wallet. 'Cause
Exactly.
You think you're going to get knifed at any point. And it had the classic,
Yeah.
like the
there.
Velcro on your bottom of your shoes because it was so nasty.
every seat looked like it was padded till you sat in it, and there was just like a whole section.
It was
missing.
wood and cloth, and that's it.
It was so for those of you that don't know, we're talking about Bowcatcher Cinema in Asheville, downtown Asheville. Well, it was on Tunnel Road in Asheville, not downtown, but it was a super sketchy rundown. At one time, it was probably a really nice movie theater.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say when this came out, it was still pretty decent, but then like literally in the early 2000s, it really went downhill.
Went downhill.
The last movie that I saw there was Iron Man.
Okay.
Oh, is that what?
And what was that, 08?
Oh.
Something like
Yeah.
that?
06, 08?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Early aughts.
But it didn't last much longer
No.
than that.
No.
And now it's a Blaze Pizza.
I was going to say, it's the only thing I think of there now.
It's a Blaze Pizza.
Yeah.
Derrick, when was the first time you saw it?
So I have a very strong and vivid memory of going to see ID4. I remember clearly because I would have been, this would have been the summer of me going into 7th grade.
Ooh.
So this was like the perfect time for me to go see this.
So you were 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember like the lead in to the movie, like they promoted the daylights out of this movie. And I can remember seeing trailers and posters. And I'm sure they had all of the potato chip and soda tie-ins. You know,
Pepsi. I think Pepsi was a big one.
Everywhere. Maybe probably Taco Bell. You could go and get an ID4 cup.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I remember very strongly this movie because it was one of the first movies that I went into the theater to watch by myself. Now, here's how that worked. So we were staying with my grandmother, and I had my little sister with me, and Grandmom and my little sister went to watch some kid movie because my younger sister, whatever the Disney movie of the summer was, they went to go see that. And I went, being the big man that I was, I went by myself.
Chest swelled out when you walked in with your own popcorn.
I went in to see it by myself because Grandmom and sister were going to see the other movie. Mm-hmm. And man, was I blown away.
It's a good movie.
And I went to see it at the old Hollywood Cinema on Hendersonville Road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a great theater.
Yeah, they had an amazing arcade back in that day.
Dude, upstairs.
Upstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a real treat to be able to go to that movie theater. And it was pretty new at that time.
Now it's a bar lounge.
It's a Cinemark now.
Cinemark,
Yeah, but
it's
they
still
do
a nice theater, but yeah.
It's not the same.
No.
No. But anyway, I have a very strong memory of that movie simply because of that, going to see it by myself and then just feeling all grown up and loved it.
Yeah.
I was 21 when it came. You guys talking about starting the 8th grade. No, I was married, 21 years old.
There you go.
Well, I was 10 when this came out. I'm going to probably go ahead and say it was Bowcatcher because I remember seeing I remember seeing Independence Day there and also seeing Jurassic Park at Bowcatcher as well. Because I remember those two movies being the ones that were in the theater the longest.
Yeah,
like they hit like a
Independence Day
record.
was in there for a long
I
time.
want to say it was like a year.
Yeah.
Was
Like
Bowcatcher 6 or 7 screens? Was it 6?
no, it was
don't
bigger than that. I think.
And Hollywood was. Well, didn't they have 14 original?
I don't really remember. It's been so because I think I was trying to think what the last movie it was I saw at Bowcatcher, but I don't even remember now. I just remember it was horrible. Like the theater was horrible. It was just nasty. The seats literally were like you were sitting on the floor.
Yeah, you didn't think of Pee Wee Herman back in. No. you just hope it was old Coke and popcorn butter is all I'm saying.
Anyway,
All right.
back to your memory.
It definitely wasn't that.
Good to know.
But yeah, I definitely remember seeing it in theaters at Bowcatcher in 1996. That was just like, and it was just so amazing. And I definitely remember when it came out on VHS, buying that VHS, and it had that. If I'm thinking the right movie, it had that holographic
On
on the
the front of
cover.
the box.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where you could turn the
Yeah.
the
Wasn't the
VHS.
beam coming
It was
down?
The beam
Yeah.
coming down.
Yeah.
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 I remember when this movie came out on video as well because Blockbuster had just gobs and gobs of copies.
It was like 2 or 3 sections of it.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Nice. We're looking at a promotional here of, is that Burger King?
Yeah, it was Burger King.
Burger King.
You could enter a contest to win a MacBook, the same MacBook that Jeff Goldblum used in the movie.
Nice.
Oh,
Y'all go look this up on Google. Burger King Independence Day tie-in or contest. Win a state-of-the-art Apple Macintosh PowerBook,
PowerBook.
which is vintage now.
Let me show you
Yeah.
one more here. There you go.
Oh, the Independence Day toys. Yes, we're looking at a.
Look what it came with.
It came with a floppy disk of what? Maybe the game.
You guys
don't
will
know.
have to look that one up if you don't know what it is.
Maybe it's like clips of the movie or something.
Yeah.
Maybe it had Oregon Trail on it. Who knows?
I don't really remember these toys all that well. They must have flopped.
They probably did.
Pun intended.
Yeah.
They are probably valuable now.
They
though.
probably are, especially if they're sealed.
The pilot attacker. Oh, that's the one, the infamous punch. Welcome to Earth.
Yeah, I think they if I remember right, I do remember these because I remember seeing these at like KB Toys and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I think they had several different colors. You know how kind of they did with the old Batman line where it come out with 20 different colors of Batman.
Yeah.
But they did something similar to that. But all right, so I'm going to read the plot. A strange phenomenon worldwide causes skies to light up and terrorize major cities. Something incredible has arrived, determined to destroy everything. Yet an unlikely group fights against this force. They face superior technology but possess the will to survive. Derrick, do you want to read us some vitals on the movie?
Love to. So this movie came out July the 3rd, 1996. And I was thinking about that year. It was a huge year for movies. So I just Googled this and looked up some of the top movies that came out that year. Also coming out in 1996, Twister.
Yeah.
Really?
Of course, they did a remake or a sequel, Twisters.
Yeah.
Not really a remake, but the sequel came out last summer. Mission Impossible, the first Mission Impossible.
First one.
Also came out that year.
Pretty
That
sure
was
I saw
a
that in
huge
both
movie.
pictures, too.
And of course, the new Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning, just came out, and highly recommend if you haven't seen it. It's really good. You know what else came out in 1996? The Rock. Oh, Sean Connery and Nick Cage.
You're between the rock and a hard case.
That was a great action movie, man.
Derrick,
The
you've
Rock.
talked about certain years where kids would just go broke. You'd go broke this year.
Oh
on
man,
the movies.
Yeah, I'm not done yet. The Nutty Professor also came out that year with
Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hercules.
Maybe it's got a little gas.
What else came out in 1996? A Time to Kill. That was a great movie.
Yeah,
Matthew
that's good.
McConaughey sort of broke through that
Yeah, that was
year.
really good.
Eraser with Arnold. It did pretty well, I think, at the box office, but it wasn't a great action movie.
That actually might have been one of his last like big movies.
Yeah.
I think the sixth day after that was that.
Yeah.
After?
Yeah,
that
it was.
He was going downhill at that.
Yeah.
So here's what else came out in 1996. And I wish Preston was here. Star Trek First Contact.
Oh,
That's a good movie.
Yeah.
that was a good one.
Space Jam.
Oh,
I believe I can fly.
now let's not confuse that with the newer one.
This was the MJ
The
version.
LeBron James.
Broken Arrow came out that year.
Oh yeah,
Man.
that was a good one.
Christian Slater and John Travolta.
Yeah.
Remember that? How about this one? Cable Guy.
Dude, you remember you're making me think all these movie posters walking around.
I know.
He showed Jim Carrey with them two coax cables had lightning.
Yeah.
So many great. Jumanji came out. The Robin Williams Jumanji. That was an awesome movie.
That was a good year for movies.
Jingle All the Way came out in 1996. 12 Monkeys. Remember that with Bruce
yeah,
Willis?
yeah.
One.
Leonardo DiCaprio, Romeo and Juliet came out that
Oh
year
man,
too.
No,
my
thank
wife went and saw that like 8 times.
Happy Gilmore came out in 1996, and they're making a sequel to it now.
Yeah.
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 It's going to be on Netflix.
And the same people are coming back.
Yeah.
Amazingly enough.
Everybody's still alive.
Yeah, everybody's still living.
But anyway, that's just a rundown.
That's insane,
That's a
Derrick.
killer
That was
summer.
Well, you talked about like there were so many years like 84 had some amazing movies.
Oh yeah.
87.
99 had some amazing movies come out. I mean, it's just like
we haven't had years like that in the movie.
no.
theater.
I mean, you
It's
listen
like
to that list
decade.
and compare to today.
Well, it's like it
doesn't even-
seemed like back then it was like every 5 years there was like just bangers coming
Yeah.
out every
Yeah.
5 years.
So, 1996, July the 3rd, Independence Day came out. IMDb score of 7, which I don't know. Does that seem a little low to you guys?
Seems a little low.
A little low, maybe. Tomato meter gives it a critic score of 68% and the audience score of 75%. So, they're not too far off there. This movie, man, oh man, did it rake in the money. The budget was $75 million.
They were printing their own money.
And then the box office was 817 million. So boy, oh boy, did they.
Remember, this was 96, kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't that kind of how Jurassic Park was? Like it cost like under 100 million or whatever, and
Yeah.
but then it 10 times its
Jurassic
money.
Park stayed in the
stayed in the
theater
theater.
forever.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think these were the two movies, Jurassic Park and Independence Day, for like a year.
Yeah.
It was like a record. I bet you nobody else has done that.
I even think you could have went and saw this at the Waynesville Drive-In. You remember that?
Probably, yeah. Runtime 2 hours and 25 minutes, and it had a rating of PG-13. It did win an Oscar that year for Best Visual Effects, which this was sort of in that time period where CGI was kind of in its infancy. It wasn't. I mean, Terminator 2 sort of blew the doors off of that with what was possible.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the special effects that they did here was a combination of practical effects
Yes.
and models.
Yes.
And
I think
me
they
and my
got scaled
son,
up
we
so
watched Independence Day last year. He had never seen it before, and he was saying like, Daddy, for this to be an old movie, like it still holds up pretty good. So once again, the practical effects, they seem to work.
Oh, it was like when they did that fire coming through the city.
Yeah.
That was a model. And they
Yeah.
Well,
blue flames.
I was thinking the same thing. I was telling Doug, I was like, because I hadn't seen this in a while, and I was watching. I was like, I mean, some of the CGI is
Yeah.
a little rough, but
Right.
like
Like
for
the alien
1996, yeah, 1996. This is not bad CGI for 1996. There's some horrible CGI for 1996.
Yeah.
but this I was like,
Even later, there's
looks
horrible, like
good.
The Mummy.
yeah,
Mummy had some terrible CG in it. Anyway, that's another podcast for another day. The tagline for the movie: "The question of whether or not we are alone in the universe has been answered." What a great tagline. Let's talk about the cast. So this was Will Smith in his heyday.
Heyday.
And of course, he's
Prime.
the main hero of the whole action-packed movie where he's the pilot. You remember Will Smith from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, 6 Degrees of Separation, Bad Boys. How many Bad Boy movies are there now? There are 3 or 4?
No, there's like 5 or 6 now.
Oh man,
Yeah,
I'm way off.
yeah, oh, yeah, that's right. Because they quit numbering it.
I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, I've seen the 4th one, and the 4th one was pretty good, but the 5th one came out after the slap.
Oh.
And I couldn't watch it. I don't know. I cannot watch anything of Will Smith after the slap. It's just I don't know. That's just what I think of. I don't know.
And this was also that time, like we said, primetime Will Smith. He couldn't do anything wrong. He followed this up with Men in Black, and wasn't there 3 of those?
Yeah.
Enemy of the State. I remember that one very clearly, and I think I had Gene Hackman in
Yeah,
it, didn't it?
that was a good one. Good one.
Yeah. Wild Wild West. I forgot about him being in that movie. That was another summer blockbuster, and it was terrible.
Well, okay. So Wild Wild West.
They had
it's-
killer
it's-
BK.
It's definitely one of those
Wild
so
Wild
bad
West.
that it's a good. It's so bad that it's a good movie.
I remember
like it's
the
bad,
video more than the movie.
but
Yeah.
it's I don't know. I enjoy it.
This was the time when Will Smith also had his music career going
Yeah.
on. So he was doing Getting Jiggy with It.
Yeah.
He was doing
Summertime.
Here Come the Men in Black.
Yeah.
He was doing The Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
They had a tie-in song with that. No tie-in song here with ID4, but
Missed opportunity.
yeah. And then, of course, he later on would follow up with Ali, and that's a biopic of Muhammad Ali. Yeah. So, some pretty good resume there. Bill Pullman is also in this movie. He plays the president. He was, of course, in Spaceballs, which, did you guys see where they've announced they're going to do a sequel to Spaceballs?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Mel Brooks is going to play Yogurt again.
Everybody that's
And
still, like
Mel
still
Brooks
alive.
is super old now.
Yeah. Everybody's coming back to play him. I mean, everybody.
Bill Pullman, you probably also remember him from League of Their Own with Tom Hanks, and then Sleepless in Seattle. That was like the rom-com of all time. Wyatt Earp. He was also in Casper, the Friendly Ghost. Lake Placid. That movie was terrible. Wow. I forgot about that one. Also, I forgot about Titan AE.
Oh, that's a good animated one.
That's one of those. I want to say that was the movie that was like the first CGI / animation.
Yeah,
movie
it's
they
dramatic.
did.
It's actually had a dramatic story.
Like I remember it being good, but it bombed so bad.
Oh, yeah.
It just it was
It
awful.
cost a lot to make that.
Yeah.
He was also in Equalizer. And, of course, we could not forget Jeff Goldblum, who plays a prominent role as a computer scientist working for the government here in this movie. You know him from other films such as The Big Chill, Adventures of Buckaroo Across the Eighth Dimension, Silverado. I think everybody knows him most from The Fly and Jurassic Park. He plays also in The Lost World. I didn't know he was in The Prince of Egypt. What voice was he? Interesting. Grand Budapest Hotel. The dreaded ID4 2, which I have not seen, and everybody tells me
Wait, you haven't seen
I
that?
haven't seen the sequel.
Oh, well,
seen
don't.
it. I've seen
Okay, let me. I'll put it this way: if you think Running Man is bad, then you're really gonna hate ID2. It's awful.
It was definitely a shameless money grab. It was trying
Yeah.
to just trying to
Well,
get some.
Will Smith didn't want to do it. He's like, I'm good. What do we need a sequel for?
Should have left it alone. So, most recently, he's been in some Marvel movies, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Thor Ragnarok, and, of course, they rebooted the Jurassic Park series, which is now Jurassic World, and Jeff Goldblum is in those number 2 and 3 of Jurassic World. They have another Jurassic World coming out in just a few weeks. I don't know if he's in that one or not. I heard his voiceover
Is it a voiceover? Okay.
in the trailer, so who knows? Maybe he'll make a cameo.
I don't know how I feel about this one. I don't know.
So, I mean, I'm going to see it, but
Yeah.
what else can they do? Oh, there's another island.
There's like 50 islands
Yeah.
out there apparently that they just. Oh, this was another.
Well,
big
I almost
test
feel like they're
for
going
this.
back to the island from the Lost World. I feel like they're going back to that
I
one
don't know.
again.
They just
Well, that's the one that blew up, wasn't it?
An island blew up?
Which one was the one where all the brachiosauruses got burned up at the end of it?
So that was in Jurassic World.
That
Yeah.
was the regular. Wasn't that was the one from Jurassic Park?
Isla Nublar.
Yeah.
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 So that one's gone.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
The volcano.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, funny story about Jeff Goldblum. When I was a freshman in college, I went to University, North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and I moved into the dorms. And within a week or two of being in the dorms, I went into the stall. And somebody, as a practical joke, when you close the stall door and you're sitting there to do your business, there was a pretty good sized picture of Jeff Goldblum from The Fly.
When he had the long hair.
When he had the long hair, and he's like looking down on you. And the caption on the image said, "Jeff Goldblum is watching you poop."
Was that when he had his shirt unbuttoned?
Yeah. You're sitting there,
sultry.
doing your business, and there's Jeff Goldblum watching you. I don't know who did that to this day, but
Hilarious.
I've never forgotten.
great.
that.
Call in if you know.
So you say, I can't watch Will Smith after the slap. Every time I see Jeff Goldblum, I think about that. Anyway,
And
not
you
a bad thing, though.
associate it with a good BM.
yeah, we are forever scarred. Also in this movie, Mary McDonnell. She was from Dances with Wolves, Sneakers. Donnie Darko. What a great cult classic, man. We could lean into
she was his mom.
Yep. We could lean into that one for a long time.
Love you, Frank.
One of Doug's favorites, Battlestar Galactica. No, that's Battlefield Earth. I'm talking about. I'm thinking of Preston.
No, but
Preston's
this is
Battlestar
Preston, yeah.
Galactica. He loves that movie. Scream 4, Major Crimes, Judd Hirsch, Man on the Moon, Beautiful Mind, Numbers. She was in ID 42 and the TV show The Goldbergs. So
She's been in a lot of stuff.
a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Margaret Collin, also in this movie. Pretty in Pink, 3 Men and a Baby, and Gossip Girl. Good old Randy Quaid.
Cousin Eddie.
This was probably his most serious role.
Yeah. I love his character in this
Yeah.
movie.
He's good.
He's like the most down-to-earth dude in the whole thing.
You remember him from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. He's also in Days of Thunder, Kingpin, National Lampoon's Vegas Vacation, The Last Detail.
Love Kingpin. Love it so much.
Kingpin or Big Lebowski?
Kingpin.
I'm going to go Big Lebowski just because of the dude.
The dude. I'm the
They're both
dude.
bowling movies.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
I need to go back and watch Kingpin. That's Bill Murray, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, well,
Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, but Bill Murray makes an appearance in it.
Yeah. Cool.
It's what is it? Munyon? You get Munyoned.
I don't know.
That makes fun of his name. Yeah.
Yeah.
Robert Loggia. He was an officer, a gentleman, Scarface, Over the Top, and Independence Day 2, the sequel.
He was the general in Independence Day, the one that stood beside the president all the time.
Yeah. James Rebhorn was in this movie, as well as My Cousin Vinny. Basic Instinct, Blank Check. That was a fun kid movie from the 90s. Talented Mr. Ripley, who featured Pierce Brosnan, I believe. Didn't they have Pierce Brosnan in it from James Bond, 007? Or was Talented Mr. Ripley?
That's the one with Matt Damon.
Was that Matt Damon?
That's Matt Damon.
Okay. Meet the Parents, Cold Mountain, Real Steel, and White Collar. Vivica A. Fox, who played Will Smith's wife in this movie. She was in Born on the 4th of July. Batman and Robin.
Nipplegate. What? Yeah.
Do we have to talk about how bad those Joel Schumacher Batman movies were?
I mean,
we
I'll
do
put them on
now.
the list if you guys want to do them, but
Yeah, those would be fun just to...
Just the back.
oh, yeah.
Anything from, Batman Forever, Batman
Batman and Robin.
and Robin,
The
And then-
only thing good about those was the McDonald's merch. You
Well,
could
yeah.
get.
Oh man, those
Cups.
Batman Forever glasses are
Dude.
still pretty hot. This movie also had Brent Spiner from Star Trek Next Generation. And of course, if Preston were here, he could give us an entire rundown of every episode that he was in. He was also in Generations, Phenomenon, First Contact, Insurrection, Dude, Where's My Car? With Ashton Kutcher, Star Trek Nemesis, and he was in Star Trek Picard and the dreaded ID4 sequel.
Well, see, that was the thing about the sequels. Everybody came back except for Will Smith.
Everybody come back but him.
But it was just,
Screenplay was by Dean Devlin, who wrote Universal Soldier 1 and 2. Y'all remember Universal Soldier?
Yes.
Yeah. Stargate,
I just watched that the other day.
underrated.
It's
I love
still
that
very
movie.
good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Didn't that become a TV series?
A
Well,
long, like it ran for
what,
like 10
SG1?
seasons.
with Richard
Stargate.
Dean Anderson,
Yeah,
also
Stargate
known as
SG1.
MacGyver.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, he also wrote Godzilla, the 98 adaptation.
I think isn't that Preston's favorite movie? One of his favorite movies?
He loves Godzilla
I think
movies.
so, yeah. He's big.
I mean, I like Godzilla,
Yeah.
but not the 98 version.
98 Godzilla, that had the Puff Daddy
That's when you had to.
theme song. That
It didn't
went with
really.
it.
So random, Derek. It's
No,
so
I'm pretty sure.
No, it's
Like,
fine. It's
yeah,
just
he
like
did.
it's so. I didn't. That's so random. I was just thinking like because that Godzilla looked
Wasn't
like
that
a
the one when they just
T-Rex.
sneaked? They never. They tried to pull a Jaws. They didn't show Godzilla like
Yeah.
the last couple
Yeah,
frames.
like you just saw his feet, like he.
Yeah.
But he looked like a T-Rex. That was the whole thing. Is he didn't look like a Godzilla.
Yeah, that Godzilla movie was pretty bad. Now that I think back.
Well, then it had like little babies.
Yeah.
Little T-Rex babies running around the city.
Also, on the screenplay, Roland Emmerich, also from Stargate, Godzilla, The Day After Tomorrow, if you remember that disaster flick, 10,000 BC, 2012, and Moonfall. Produced by Dean Devlin, Roland Emmerich, William Fay. Music was composed by David Arnold, who also worked on Stargate. Tomorrow Never Dies, which was the second Pierce Brosnan
Yeah.
007 movie. GoldenEye still amazing. Love that one. He also worked on Godzilla, 98. The World Is Not Enough, another 007. That one was terrible. Shaft.
How do you go from James Bond?
Wow. Was that the Shaft with
Sam Jackson.
Sam Jackson? Yeah. What's the thing that you told me about Sam Jackson a while back that he never turns down a movie role?
Yeah, he
never
'cause
says no.
he loves acting, so he'll take anything they offer to him.
It doesn't
He's
matter.
been in some humongous movies and some really, really bad movies.
He just said
Like, I didn't
he
even
just
know
said
he
he
was
loves
in this.
acting.
Yeah.
So
He also did the music for Zoolander. Die Another Day, which was another 007 flop. Too Fast, Too Furious. Casino Royale. Excellent James Bond movie. Hot Fuzz and Sherlock. Filming locations. They used Los Angeles, New York, and a few other cities in between to set the stage. This was produced by 20th Century Fox. Soundtrack, It's the End of the World as We Know It, performed by REM. Great song. Directed by Roland Emmerich. And of course, we've already named some of his resume. But one additional thing that we forgot that he helped direct was The Patriot.
A good one.
Mel
Good one.
Gibson.
that's a really good one.
Man, they really made the British out to be total villains. Remember when they lock all the people in the church and burn them
Oh,
down?
burn them down.
Yeah.
That was one thing that I noticed when I was doing all this research is there's so many of these people that just all work together for like the next
Yeah.
like 20 years.
Crossovers, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Are we doing trivia yet?
yes,
Dude,
sir.
was that-
You
was- I
care
was
to?
thinking about that. That song, "End of the World as We Know It," was the movie made that song so popular, or vice versa?
I don't know. It's just I think it was
It
one of
was
those things
always
where
on the
they.
radio.
I think it was one of those things where they just both hit at the same time, and it was just right. I don't think REM made that song for the movie.
No, I don't. What parts was it even in the movie? I was trying to think. I don't remember it. like what part it was in the movie.
Don't it play in? Ain't it like the instrumental parts of it playing in the background when?
I think it plays in the background.
Yeah.
Like when they're on the RV.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like on the radio.
Yeah, it's on the radio. You can hear it. Let's talk about trivia. The president's speech was filmed on August 6, 1995 in front of an old airplane hangar that once housed the Enola Gay. Hey, there's a nice little factoid. Which, of course, that plane infamously dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima exactly 50 years earlier on August 6, 1945. That's a really cool piece of history there. Interestingly, the crowd was not scripted to start cheering, but Bill Pullman's delivery of the speech was so good that they just started applauding and cheering on their own, and the filmmakers, of course, kept it in the movie.
Dude, that was an amazing speech. That's like,
Bill Pullman for Prez.
dude. That's what you want the president to come out and say.
And he's still younger than most of our presidents have been.
Talk about getting pumped.
When Dean Devlin first pitched the script to 20th Century Fox, it was described as War of the Worlds meets Pulp Fiction, which immediately interested the studio. I don't see Pulp Fiction at all in this movie.
I don't either.
There's no Royale with cheese in here.
No, I don't. I don't know.
Fing rings and a ball gag.
Oh.
You know, no.
War of the Worlds maybe, is closer.
Yeah.
But, man, that War of the Worlds with the Tom Cruise version with, I think it's Steven Spielberg directed, it's bad.
It is.
Pretty bad.
I actually watched it for the first time just like 6 months ago. I was bored through the whole thing, honestly.
Yeah, it wasn't good. So, yeah, that's a weird pitch. I don't think I would put War of the Worlds maybe, but
Yeah.
I don't know where
Pulp
Pulp
Fiction,
Fiction
no.
came in there. The White House, which explodes, that's the big center action set
yeah.
in the middle of the movie.
That's what was in all the trailers.
I was gonna say, that was in the
Yeah.
trailer, yeah.
It was built on a 1/12 scale just to be blown up. 9 cameras filmed the explosion at various speeds, one of which was 12 times faster than normal, then played back at normal speed to make the explosion seem larger and slower on film. Yeah, that was an iconic moment, and they showed it from so many different angles, and some super slow motion. And I always remember the helicopter. It
was like
trying to get out of there, and then it gets
sideways.
It gets taken up in the flames.
Yeah.
So a lot of good eye candy here. This scene appeared prominently in most teasers, trailers, and TV spots, and is widely regarded as the film's most iconic shot. Of course, we all remember that being on the cover of the VHS tapes. It even appeared on the cover. Oh, I don't need to say that. You cut that part out.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
For those of you, I'm reading from a set of notes here.
Comes back to you as you're reading it. You're like, oh, yeah.
Well, it was so. I know we all had it. I know
Yeah.
we did.
Now listen to this. Everybody Wants to Rule the World by the group Tears for Fears was originally picked to play during the scene at SETI before it was replaced by REM's It's the End of the World as We Know It. I think that was a good choice to stay with REM. It fit more of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With
I mean,
the 90s.
both good songs.
Right.
Yeah,
I love that.
definitely.
I love Tears for Fears, but that was more closely associated with the 80s.
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
And End of the World feels like a better fit with all
goes
the
with the
cities
movie.
Yeah,
of
'cause
the
that's
world
what you think's
exploding
happening. Yeah.
rather than somebody trying to rule the earth, because that's not really what the movie was about. And they're just farming us, the aliens in that movie. So there's your trivia, and consider yourself edumacated.
Thanks, Derek. Doug, do you want to read us some reviews and tell the people what the people think about this movie?
Let's tell the people what some people shouldn't be thinking. Okay. Okay, this first one I'm reading is 4 out of 10. It's in 2024. This is like,
Just like 6 months ago.
yeah, cheesy and heavily overhyped. Floated 2 is his name, I guess.
Where do they come up with these names?
I don't know. It's like somebody hits the name generator. That sounds good.
Yeah.
AI, generate me a name.
Floater.
That's what you leave in the toilet, man.
Floated 2. It totally makes sense, Doug. Floated 2.
2. Yeah, a number 2.
Number 2, yeah.
Wah, wah. Okay.
All right.
As a film, the original Independence Day seems to be very highly praised and beloved among fans. Does Independence Day live up to the hype? Depends on what you were expecting. If you were expecting the kind of film that is a mindless popcorn blockbuster, there's certainly enough fast-paced action, laughs, special effects, stereotype characters, cliches, and loud enough soundtrack. If you were expecting something more, then, well, you're most likely to be disappointed. He just said everything that's awesome about it.
Continue, Doug.
Then, well, you're most likely to be disappointed. Really, for such a high-tech special effects movie, this is really an old-fashioned affair. It is, after all, a sci-fi plotline that almost as old as the genre itself. There's hardly an original concept to this movie's priority. Okay.
Hurt just reading that, didn't it?
Dude, I felt that one. Let's see what this got. 8 out of 10. Underrated. Epfels? Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Epstein? What?
Phyllis?
EP Phils?
Yeah. Sounds like a prescription you'd be on. July 8th, 2006. At least he watched it at about the appropriate time of year, in the middle of July.
Yeah.
This movie gets bashed a lot, and it's surprising to see how many idiots pretend to be pseudo-intellectuals who cannot enjoy 2 or 3 hours of pure, unadulterated fun. Sure, it isn't the most sophisticated movie ever made, but it was mostly very well done and was highly entertaining and polished for what it was worth. The special effects were top-notch, and the dogfight sequences were great fun, even if a bit unrealistic in the actual maneuvering capabilities of the aircraft involved. But it's not too often that you get to see so many stealth I think he meant to say B-52s, but he forgot the
B2s.
B-2s, yeah. In the air. If you haven't seen this, then this movie is recommended as a great entertainer and a feel-good movie. The characters weren't very deep, but were likable. This guy gives it 1 out of 10.
1 out of 10.
Will
Come on.
Smith saves the world. Nicka. 11. That must be his age. December 10th, 2004. I can accept that this film is not supposed to be especially serious, but it commits every sin in the cinematic book of crimes for a start. There isn't one character with any charm or charisma.
What?
To the point where I started supporting the aliens. But of course, the aliens couldn't possibly win because, firstly, they aren't human, and therefore they must be evil. This is like this dude right here. He captured 2020. This whole it sounds woke before woke was.
Do you see why I picked this one?
Okay, let's see. And secondly, the Americans must always be seen as brave, dynamic, and intelligent, the saviors of mankind. It is this kind of overly patriotic, flag-waving America is the greatest country on earth attitude that winds people up.
It is called Independence Day for a reason. This guy completely misses the point.
This dude needs to move. A bit of humility wouldn't go amiss sometimes. Aside from the usual "Isn't America Brilliant" theme, the film has a dreadful, predictable storyline, a corny script, and a woeful acting. I suppose the best thing you could say about this is that the special effects are slick. But even then, this doesn't add to my enjoyment of the film. The alien ship may be an impressive computer-made creation, but that's still what it looked like. That's still what it looked like.
Still what it looks like.
What it looked like. Word. Okay. Computer made it. Doesn't look real.
Grammar. Please learn grammar.
The mark of a good film is if you are still talking about it in the pub. Wait a minute. Is this
Must be a Brit. You're not reading it with the right accent, Doug.
Back in the pub. All right, let's have us a pint. A few hours after you've left the cinema, or even at work the following day, my mind started to wonder less than a half an hour into the flick if there has ever been a more shallow and meaningless film in cinematic history. Yes, Cabin Boy. Watch that one.
Human Centipede.
I have not seen it. Independence Day is without a doubt the worst film I've ever seen.
That's a little dramatic, don't you think?
It's a bit much.
Yeah.
It's a bit much.
But maybe he hasn't seen very many movies.
Yeah, it's just true.
Was this the I mean, even this was the
This is his second movie.
you've ever seen in your life.
Second movie he's ever seen.
He hates America, but he picks up a movie called Independence Day and watches it. Okay.
They're just still mad, that we won.
That's right.
Yeah. Take that. Take your tea back. Okay, this guy. 10 out of 10. My best, Trevor Maruta. Trevor Maruta.
Say it one more time, Doug.
Trevor Maruta. Yeah.
Okay, we got it.
December 13th, 2024. I just watched Independence Day and I'm still reeling from the experience. The special effects remind... Okay, so this is great because this is, 2024 from 96 and they're still praising the special effects.
Yeah.
And the action scenes were intense and suspenseful. The cast, including Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum, delivered solid performances that added depth to the story. The movie's themes of patriotism, courage, and unity in the face of adversity really resonated with me. The film's portrayal of a global catastrophe and the subsequent response from the world leaders was both thrilling and thought-provoking. Overall, I'd highly recommend Independence Day to fans of science fiction, action, and adventure movies. It's a classic that still holds up today. Bravo, sir. America. America. Eat a hot dog after that.
One last one, Doug.
Mr. Ebert. Let's see what Mr. Ebert has to say. The movie Independence Day is a sci-fi disaster film with elaborate special effects, but they aren't outstanding. The plot involves aliens attacking Earth and humans fighting back with a jerry-built solution devised by David, Jeff Goldblum. The film's imagination is timid with a predictable alien designs and ray beams. Despite its flaws, the movie is enjoyable as a silly summer fun with memorable line, "It's the end of the world as we know it." The film's characters are diverse but lack depth, and the story has logical gaps, such as why the aliens would engage in aerial dogfights or use hours and minutes on their countdown. 2.5 out of 4 stars.
And I had to condense this. This thing was 3 pages long, and I had to condense it down to what,
Sound like one of my movie reviews.
You meant the 3-page one.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks, Doug. I know that was a lot.
That was a lot.
All right, let's go to our scene by scene. Scene 1. A ship's shadow crosses the moon, heading for Earth. Earth receives a signal from space. President Thomas Whitmore grapples with the challenges of being a young president. David and Julius plays chess in the park. The ship breaks apart, entering Earth's atmosphere in a fiery cloud and stops over every major city in the world. We meet Captain Steve Hiller. Mass panic spreads globally.
Great start to a movie. I love how it opens up with the crawl of the huge mothership, coming across the moon.
Yeah.
Kind of very reminiscent of A New Hope. You get the
the
Star Destroyer
Star coming
and
over you.
the Princess Leia's ship.
Yeah. Well, then it shakes the moon, so you see the
sand
footprints.
filling up
Yeah.
from the footprints. and
Yeah,
stuff.
it's
So I remember,
trying to erase
like I said,
humans.
being a young man in the movie theater, and this was definitely one you wanted to see in the movie theater because just the bass. It was like shaking you as you
Feel
were
the vibration.
watching it, and
Definitely.
yeah, you were hooked. I watched it at the perfect time, so I was hooked like the first 2 seconds.
Oh yeah, he's like, this is going to be great.
Yeah, this is gonna be awesome, and I like the scene with the father and son playing chess in the park.
Yeah,
because there you sort of get a little bit of their relationship, and that was really cool to see them sort of kick off the movie
Not
there.
like a very iconic New York thing.
Oh yeah, it's like a New York. Yeah,
Yeah.
Like everybody brings their own chess set to the.
yeah. They spend a lot of time in Los Angeles and New York in these two movies. And of course, if you're gonna make a disaster movie, every disaster movie has to take place in New York City.
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
attacks New York.
Well,
So,
I thought they actually, like I said, I recently just watched this for the first time in, I don't know, 10 years, I'd say, or maybe longer. I don't know. But I actually thought just in this first scene, I thought they did a very good job of introducing, there's so many characters in this movie. I mean, so many.
Yeah.
But I thought they did a very good job introducing like our main characters. We see David playing with his chess with his dad, and then we see him actually what he does for a living, and then we see what the president's going through. They talk about how he's such a young president.
and he has little kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought they did a very good job.
Very
just kind
John F. Kennedy-esque.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the scene of the appearance of the saucers breaking through the atmosphere, with like the fiery sky. That's just a real cool scene.
Yeah.
It almost looks like they're pushing a cloud in front of them the way it's smoked.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's really neat the way they did that. And then Will Smith's character is introduced here, and he also has a young family. And I think doesn't it open up like with him and his wife waking up in bed or something like that?
Yeah, and like the kid sees it out there.
Yeah.
And they're totally clueless on what's going on.
Supposed to be his day off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he goes outside. He
And
picks
they
up
thought
the
it was just a
newspaper.
little bit of an earthquake.
Yeah, and he opens the newspaper and he's looking over. He's like, "What? What's everybody
He
looking
sees
at?"
the
And
little
that's
boy,
when he
bang,
sees
bang,
it.
bang. He's pulling a little cap gun pistol out, shooting at him.
And
Like you said, it introduces the main characters here, and they're all from various backgrounds of life. Like you've got the President of the United States, you've got David, who's a computer nerd, and his dad, and then you've got Will Smith, who's a military man, and then you've got the folks that are living in the desert.
Yeah, like the campgrounds and
Campground
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah,
The
RV
in the
parks.
RV. Cousin Eddie's character, Quaid.
Cousin Eddie.
Yeah.
That's going to happen.
His family he's like a crop duster or something.
Yes.
like that.
Well, and
he's a drunk.
I guess he was what? Was he a Vietnam vet?
Yeah.
He was a
Yeah, Vietnam
So you
vet.
have all these
Yeah.
various slices of American life, and you at the outset you don't see how they're all going to come together, but all these various story threads come together
and he crop dusts the wrong field.
in the disaster.
Yeah. And then they got the thing where they're in the diner and he's like, "Why don't you tell them what the aliens did to you?"
Oh,
Was it sexual?
Was this sexual?
there's something else about this movie that we didn't touch on, but like here in the mid '90s, there was a real UFO craze going on in the United States at this point. So
Didn't
this
Fire
movie,
in the Sky come out?
yeah,
after this?
and the X Files was huge at this time.
Yes, X-Files.
Remember how huge X Files was, and Unsolved Mysteries
Dude,
with
I just
Robert
heard the
Stack.
I just heard the
Dude.
X Files song in my head.
Yeah,
If you go on, they have the entire series of Unsolved Mysteries on Tubi now.
Yeah.
Like every
really?
single episode with.
And I remember
Stack.
also in X Files and in Unsolved Mysteries, like they would do episodes where people would be abducted
Yeah.
by
yeah.
aliens, and then they would do like an artist rendition.
That was like some of the
and
best
it was the
ones.
gray face alien with the big bug eyes.
Yeah.
And so in the mid '90s, there was this huge craze over Area 51.
Yeah.
The government's hiding all of this
Yeah, it's been
stuff
happening
from
all
us,
the
and
time.
Independence Day taps into all of this folklore.
Well, that's what I was
Like
about to say.
Roswell and Area 51.
Do you think because of Independence Day that all that became so popular? Like,
It's kind of like a
think it
chicken
was
or
like-
the egg,
Yeah,
type
that's true.
question.
Well, like with the whole thing with Roswell, I mean, that's been going around
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
And they just knew to stick their hand on the pulse, and they was like, okay,
Yeah, this
I think this ignited it again.
Yeah.
it tapped into a lot of that, and I don't know, it was fun. I remember kids growing up, would wear alien T-shirts and like little alien heads. That was just a big thing.
Yeah.
So this movie, the reason why it was so successful is because it was lightning in a bottle, and it just
you could
hit on
say-
the right things at the right time.
You could say E.T. like struck the match.
Yeah, well, E.T. is completely different because he's a friendly alien.
Right.
Yeah.
These they're out to just wipe out
Yeah. Just
all
everything.
human life
Take
form.
us out. So you don't know
Farm
who
us.
you're going to get.
Well, and, when I was rewatching this time, like I was actually pretty amazed. It just started.
Yeah, the movie,
Like,
boom.
Just boom. I mean, like there was no like. There's signs that there's no random ship just going somewhere.
No.
It just started with them invading Earth.
You just
right
get
away.
a tiny blurb about every person, what's
Yeah.
happening in their life at different areas of the country.
Yeah.
And then, bam, we're invaded.
I mean, a lot of the critics, I know Ebert mentioned it in some of those reviews that you mentioned, Doug, like they were critiquing the movie because they were saying the characters are shallow. It's like, what do you expect? This isn't like a hero's journey, or you're not going to see in-depth character development where there's a story arc and they're,
You got how much more of a side section of them? You got the president.
Yeah.
You've got a drunk Vietnam veteran crop duster. You've got a guy in the Air Force. His girlfriend, which is a
Computer
stripper,
nerd.
a computer nerd that's working for the cable company now.
That's another thing too. The internet hadn't yet really blown up in 1996. Like,
Dude,
and so his whole Jeff Goldblum's character as a computer whiz, that was really cutting edge.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Nobody really understood
No.
the internet or
well, like when he pulls his laptop.
Oh, it's a
out
brick.
and it's
Yeah.
got the cell phone like stuck to it.
Yeah.
That's my Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
He's got.
It's
that little
funny.
timer
Like
going.
when I watched this with Daniel last year, he was laughing at the technology, and he was asking me questions about it. But
He probably thinks like it was a CNC. That looks like him looking at a CNC or something.
And the cell phones, they showed that. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't brick cell phones like it was
like
in the early
bag
90s.
phones and
It
but
was like the ones with a little flap.
Just the little flap that came down.
It didn't have a speaker in it. It just covered the buttons.
Yeah. Oh. But yeah, like I said, I was very impressed on how this movie just got started. Like there was no, it never calmed down. It just
Right.
kept on going.
Kept ramping up. Then you had what was his name? It wasn't. He's got the dog.
you know who else was a funny character that we meet is David's coworker buddy, who's obviously flamboyantly gay.
Yeah.
And but at this time in the culture, the gay lifestyle was not really accepted the way it is today. And so they were filming his character from a comedic standpoint. He was like comic relief.
But he was actually very good in this.
Yeah, he was, I gotta call my mother.
I just couldn't stand his voice.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't
Okay.
get along.
He was definitely a pack of Marlboros a day kind of
Dude.
guy.
Well, okay, another movie I remember him from was Mrs. Doubtfire. He was the was he his cousin or something
yeah.
that made him up to look
He did
like
the
Mrs.
makeup.
Doubtfire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other movie I remember him from. Well, you guys want to move on to
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. Scene 2. So David warns the president of an impending alien attack. Communication fails, and the president evacuates the White House. The aliens launch an attack, destroying every major city. Jasmine and Dylan emerge from the destruction. The Air Force prepares for a counterattack. The aliens possess a force field and launch an attack with their ships. Captain Hiller is pursued by one of the ships, sacrifices his own plane, and causes it to crash.
Nice. Lot of fast flowing action
Yeah.
going on through there. So I remember when they get all the saucers parked over, what is it, like the Empire State Building and then the White
it was
House
one of them, yeah.
and then downtown Los Angeles.
Yeah, there was like one over Chicago, and I mean, it was like every major city
like-
in the
And
world.
it was funny to see different people's reactions. Like you've got the cultic religious zealots that are like, yeah, this is the end of the world.
And they're up there
Awesome
dancing.
party.
Pick me up, Scotty. Yeah, that one girl was holding the poster. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like one girl on the news said, "I hope they bring Elvis back."
And then, of course, they had, obviously, you have people panicking. But I don't know. It was just kind of a fun take on like, okay, if this really happened, how would humanity react?
Probably exactly like this.
Yeah,
Exactly
it
like
was
this.
pretty funny to watch that.
Well, and we also see what was Will Smith's character? Steve. We
Captain
see
Hiller.
Captain Hiller.
Captain Hiller.
We see him going to the military base, and
He was going to ask his wife to marry him.
that's right.
He was going to engage.
He had that.
Gonna get
I'm
engaged.
sorry.
with a dolphin.
Ugly
diamond ring.
dolphin ring. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, you got Harry Connick Jr. He was so young in this.
I actually found his character very annoying.
Was he like was this one of his first movies?
It probably was his first movie. I don't know. I didn't even think to put him on here, but I actually found his character very annoying.
But he was like one of them annoying best friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I know we've already touched on the explosion of the White House, but and something else that I
No, keep going.
recall about those explosions is, they sent the green beam down, and then there was like a pulse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That came down, and that's what caused the nuclear explosion. I thought, that was a really cool visualization, because we had at this time, we'd never seen anything like that in the movie theater. Like there was nothing, no other movie compared to. I mean, I know they kind of touched on the destruction in Superman, where they destroy Superman's home planet. But this was completely different approach to that.
Well, and a lot of I'd say a lot of other alien related movies back then, they never showed anything like this. They'd show an alien running around, or even going back to the xenomorph alien, that they're their own weapon. I mean, they just never really
War of the Worlds, they had like that little eyeball that could up and shoot lasers from
but they
it,
never
nothing.
we never really saw anything where it was destroying a whole city.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
with such ease.
And it was
Yeah,
like
it-
what did they say the size of the ship? But I can't remember how big they said. But it was covering an entire city, and one blast would burn it all the way out to the edge of the ship.
I think it was like the size of New York.
And I love when they bring
Island
the
of
ships
Manhattan.
over the city, like the shadow.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it just encompasses the whole city in darkness.
Well,
And the news, I remember the news. Angelinos, please do not fire at the alien ship, which you might inadvertently call an interstellar war.
Yeah, but then they would send the pulse down, and then it would cause the firebomb, and then you get the nuclear mushroom cloud. But then the scene, like in the streets, where all the cars would fly up,
Blowing back the force from it.
Yeah.
it kind of reminds you of that scene from T2 when they have the destruction of Los Angeles.
oh yeah.
Skynet.
The new
It kind of reminds you of that, and of I don't know. That's just a really cool scene where you see the panic going in the streets, and David is trying to escape the city, and
because he
he's
tries
in
to
his
get
car.
to the president, and he says he's tapped into their system, and this is a countdown of when we have to leave.
Yeah.
Something's about to happen with this countdown.
Yeah,
And he said it was embedded in our own satellite network.
yeah.
And that scene where after they've fired and you see Air Force One taking off.
Yeah.
And it's just like
Gets
right
engulfed
on
in
its
the
tail.
flames, and
Yeah.
then whoosh, it just flies right through.
Oh, it's
yeah.
awesome.
They barely get the president on
Yeah.
there. Yeah, I mean it's really suspenseful, and it's
Oh, yeah.
it's when you're 12 years old. I mean, you want to see nothing more than a bunch of explosions. So I mean, it was awesome to see.
I thought it was funny that in that one building, the guy's like going through files, and he just looks out, and then just the whole building.
Yeah, he's just
explodes.
working late. He's just working late, thumbing through a.
And I can't remember if it's the Empire State Building or the Los Angeles scene where the skyscraper, like it explodes downward, like, or no, it starts at the top and goes boom, 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 boom.
I think that's the Empire.
Going downward. Just the visualization of that explosion, like level by level.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was really cool the way that they.
Yeah, the one
they
with the
did that.
people on top of it, that was in LA because it was the Capitol Records building.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Again, this is. I think it's mostly models. Like they built this stuff to
practical
scale.
effects.
I know they did. We mentioned the White House.
Probably the only thing that was probably CG really
Was
was
the
probably the
ship.
fire. Was the ship and the fire? Like
Yeah.
the fire going through the. And I mean, they probably did so much fire as much as they could, like with T2. But most of it was probably CG when it came to the fire.
I had watched something, a breakdown of it. They were showing the effects, and they showed the models. I mean, they were massive
Massive,
city
yeah.
models, and they had them turned on their side, and then they ignited an explosion, and they had it filmed where it would look a lot slower.
Yeah.
Because it was, it'd be over in a heartbeat, but they showed the ball of flame blowing between
Yeah.
the buildings, and then they kind of CG'd the detail into
Yeah.
the buildings, which was, I thought was great.
Well, it's probably like what it said in that trivia, like 1/12 frames,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, 1/12, but you're
Whatever it
thinking
said.
1/12 of a city, so
Yeah.
it's huge.
Yeah.
This is also where we get that awesome pursuit dogfight scene with Will Smith and the little alien fighter
He's
craft.
driving the F-14s.
Yeah.
Were they F-16s by then? F-14s? Was it 16?
And they have
I don't know.
that chase scene through the desert and the canyon.
Well, and this is where we find out they actually have shields. It's
Yeah.
not just trying to
Oh
destroy.
yeah, that's another thing. So when they counterattack,
Yeah.
all of the little saucers, they're protected by a force field.
Force field.
Yeah.
And like they're shooting everything they've got at it, and they just bink. just
Yeah, like
bounce
because
right
they shoot
off.
them, they'll shoot missiles at it, and it messes them up for a second, but then they just start
Yeah,
flying up.
I love the way they present it as this isn't ET. Like I know we mentioned that earlier. This
Yeah.
isn't ET.
Yeah.
These are super intelligent, technologically advanced, and
What do? We send a helicopter
It's David
with
versus
bulbs on
Goliath.
the bottom of it.
Yeah. It's
to try to
David
talk
versus
to 'em.
Goliath here.
And they just
Definitely.
kind of glaze over it like, oh, the scientists conclude that this is a way to say hello. And it was flashing.
Yeah, I remember.
What was that?
Well, and that was the first sign of like, oh, we need to get out of here.
Yeah.
And then they got one guy on the helicopter. Wait, there's something happening.
Because I think
Yeah.
that was literally right
Opens
before,
up just a little bit in the force
Yeah.
field.
It shoots a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
yeah.
because that was right before they started blowing up
Yeah.
the cities.
Yeah.
So back to the Will Smith fighter jet scene where they're going through the desert there, and Will Smith is able to take one down.
Yeah.
And then they crash land, and they don't show you the alien yet. Like you see it, when he uncovers the ship,
You see like
there's a lot of smoke and fog and all
Tentacles.
that. Tentacles.
Yeah.
You don't actually see the alien quite yet, but then he, gives it a good haymaker. Welcome to Earth.
welcome to
that was like one of the lines.
That was in every single trailer.
Oh, every
Dude.
single
Yeah.
one.
Okay. F-14, F-16. I don't think any of them had parachutes like a dragster. I mean, I don't know if that's a thing,
Yeah.
but that's the only time I've ever seen they did it in this movie. I know the ejector seats have them,
Yeah.
but
So
not
why
the ship itself.
why would a ship have a parachute? Because they're gonna
It's a
eject.
jet. Yeah.
So why would?
what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
that
That
totally
was
makes
totally
sense.
done.
Because
For the
you
movie.
have to have it for the movie, guys.
Plot armor.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he clearly didn't eject his own parachute because he used it once he ejected out of
And
the
then
plane.
he puts the alien in the parachute and drags him.
Drags
across
him,
the
yeah.
desert.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, I mean, it's
This
creative
is where
writing.
the whole movie just sort of kind of resets. And what I mean by that is the whole, first two acts of the movie are building up to the destruction. And then the rest of the movie is like our response to the destruction.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's almost like two different movies here. You feel like everything takes a different shift.
Well, you almost feel like this first part, like you're saying, could be the final of another movie.
It was so big.
Yeah.
You're thinking after all those cities got exploded, like, what more could they do?
And like every section, instead of having like intermissions, it set the different day.
Yeah, because
The 4th
it
of
started.
July.
It's because it started on July 2nd, I
Yeah.
believe, and
It's
then went to
supposed to be
3rd.
Yeah.
The big
And then
4th of
4th.
July weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it started that Friday. I'm like, okay. And then what I thought was so cool, like the way they done it, like after everything was blowed up, they just do that close up to the gun going back into the alien ship real slowly, the doors closing. Okay. That we got their attention.
Well, I was actually I didn't write it down because I was going to mention it, but I actually did see that this certain cities actually put this movie out on July 2nd, which was a Wednesday. They did a midnight showing, like 11:55 showing.
Oh, yeah.
Because they wanted the movie to line up with July 4th eventually. Because like it starts on July 2nd and it ends on July 4th. So by the time the movie comes out and everybody sees it for the weekend, it's July 4th. So, but yeah, I was reading about that. You guys got anything else for this scene? You want to move on?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. So scene 3, Hiller opens the ship. I mean, this kind of, I had to split it somewhere. There's so much that goes on in this movie. I had to split it somewhere. Hiller opens the ship. We finally meet the alien, and he incapacitates it. They reveal to the president that Area 51 is real. The president's wife is found alive. The RV convoy meets Captain Hiller in the desert, dragging the alien. He reveals spotting a base while flying over. We meet Dr. Was that Oken? Mm-hmm. The Area 51 facility head. They show the president the old ship.
Yeah, this was also a great scene because I don't think any of the trailers revealed anything about Area 51.
No,
I don't remember we talked about how there was a lot of suspicion at this time, a lot of talk about Area 51. And I even remember there was a video game, arcade shooter, Area 51.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Aliens, yeah.
But this was a cool part of the movie because you know, like I said, you weren't expecting it. You knew the destruction was going to happen, but they opened the doors on the secret. I knew it existed.
Well, the whole interaction between David's dad and the president.
Yeah. Listen to my son.
Yeah.
He's very smart.
It's like, you really don't think they pay $500? I remember hearing this as a kid. They really don't pay $500 for a hammer, $600 for a nail. He's making his point to how'd they get funding.
Yeah,
for
president
all this
asked how'd they
stuff.
get the funding for all this.
Hit all this money all these years, and now, fast forward to today, we got Doge finding all this money. That was just spot on.
Yeah. Derrick, I don't know why, but for some reason, when you mentioned that Area 51 arcade game, it made me, for some reason, it made me think of that Aerosmith game where you were shooting CDs.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why that popped into my head.
Well, it was like a knockoff of it.
Generation X, I think is what that game was called. And you had a special button where you could shoot CD as a special weapon.
I don't know why that popped in my head.
Tyler,
I guess because that was probably...
Well, and to follow up with that, just a few years later, Armageddon's going to come out in the movie theater. And that movie was huge.
We got to do Armageddon.
Yeah.
Definitely. Armageddon, The Rock. I mean, just all these.
Hit up all those blockbusters.
So the guy, the Dr. Okun, who's the Area 51 facility head, I think they perfectly cast for that character. He's sort of, well, obviously eccentric.
Yes.
He's super smart, but
he says he's been down there for
they've never let him out.
Yeah, they don't let him out because he's just a total weirdo.
Was that Brent Spiner? That's what I was trying to think of.
We
Brent
don't get visitors down here.
Well, if you notice, he was still wearing clothes from like the 50s or 60s or something. I mean, it was like literally slacks from the 50s or whatever.
And he's just like so nerded out.
He's the mad scientist.
Everything's like turning on.
Yeah. The ship,
the crash
the ship is reactivated again now that the mothership is closed. And apparently that's supposed to be
and the president's
recovered Area 51 Roswell.
Yeah. The president's like, exciting? Because he's like, everything's just so exciting right now.
People are dying.
People are dying.
Exciting isn't a word I'd use to describe it.
Okay, so Derrick, you were talking about they really didn't mention the whole Area 51 thing, but I feel like I do remember in the trailer, they just showed like a 1 second glimpse of the ship in Area 51. They didn't reveal that it was Area 51.
Right.
They just showed a glimpse of it in the trailer, just for like 1 second. But I do remember that, I feel like.
But I felt like that character, the mad scientist character, he was very well done.
And then you find out how much he really does know. They've been studying him since the 50s.
Yeah.
One of the bodies.
Yeah, he's like, please tell me you know something after studying him for 50 years.
Well, and then we find out, okay, this is one of the plot holes. It turns out what Will Smith sees is that armor that the aliens wear.
Yeah.
So how did he knock it out?
I mean, you could say that the alien was already messed up from the crash, maybe.
I don't know.
I mean,
yeah, I get it. The moment.
Just let him be the hero, Doug.
Exoskeleton, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an exoskeleton.
Just let him be the hero, Doug.
Because remember when they do cut it open, that's when it comes to life.
Yeah.
You get them little crazy arms.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to move on to scene 4?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, like I said, I forgot how long this movie was. I mean, it's almost 2.5 hours long. And I was telling Doug, there actually is a 2 hours and 45-minute version.
There's
that's
a
on
director's
Amazon.
cut?
Yeah, and it says it adds like an extra 15 or 20 minutes to the movie. I don't know what, but it's probably just like deleted scenes, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just forgot how long it was. Okay, tell me again what that is.
Okun.
Okun. Okay, so scene 4. Dr. Okun reveals the deceased aliens from the original ship. Captain Hiller and the RV convoy arrive at the Area 51 with the aliens still alive. They perform surgery, but it moves and uses telekinesis, killing the doctors. The president attempts communication, but the alien reveals no peace and only death. They shoot and kill the alien, and the president orders the nuke. I messed that up. They shoot and kill the alien, and the president orders nuke the bastards.
The scene where they are doing the surgery.
Yes.
The way it's shot, even as a kid,
It's intense.
it's pretty intense and it's really scary, and you know something's going to go wrong.
Well, then they take that scalpel and it goes like into it's just like slime.
Jelly, yeah.
Jelly. And then all of a sudden it pops open. I remember that scene like scaring me.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, be gentle. He's pulling back the little inner, it's kind of like the amniotic sac of this thing. And that's when he says, that was the line Dr. Oken. He tells the president, he's like, well, to say their bodies are just as fragile as ours, but their technology is far more advanced.
Yeah, and the way that was shot, it is sort of reminiscent of Alien. Mm-hmm. In that the attack is pretty brutal. There's a lot of smoke.
Yeah.
Lights are dying and strobing out, and
it was a good way of a puppet, because you know that was a puppet. Yeah. A puppet being able to look scary with all the flashing lights. That scene when he's actually going after the people or the scientists. It was kind of scary.
That's the most intense. To me, that's the most intense part of the movie.
All those tentacles, the sound of those tentacles.
Yeah. And then, of course, the good doctor, he bites the bullet there. And the alien, what was weird about it, the alien uses his vocal cords, as a way to communicate.
Yeah, because they don't have voice boxes.
Yeah, so he
don't have mouths.
He uses. It was wild to see. Okay, here's the dead doctor, and his mouth is moving, and
that was creepy.
That tentacle. Yeah, it reminded me of like a worm, like an earthworm.
It was like pulsing on his neck.
Oh, it was gross.
And what was the first thing he said? Release me. And then
Release me.
He's like, get him out of there. It's like, no, wait.
Release me.
It's not him. And then you see the alien come up out of the smoke behind him.
Yeah, this is where you get the full reveal of the alien.
Peace.
Yeah.
So going into this, everybody's expectation of aliens are like, the classic little green men or the gray heads with the bug eyes. Like, I felt like they went on a different direction here.
It was
with the alien.
We've never seen an alien like this before. I mean, so going back to where Will Hiller, Captain Hiller is bringing the alien in that the bed of the truck, and the guards at Area 51 are like, Captain, we can't let you in here. He's like, okay, and then he pulls back the sheet.
Oh yeah, pulls back.
It's just like slime.
He's like, what do you think now? Yeah, get out the way.
I thought that was so funny.
So I felt like this is the most intense part of the movie, and you're still wondering, like, why have they come to attack us?
Yeah,
and we don't get an answer quite yet. That was kind of the big question of the whole movie is why. What are they after?
Oh, and say when the alien is attacking the president, I guess because he's using his telekinesis, he's basically telling them why
they just go from planet to planet. He said they were like locusts. They go from planet to planet, just taking all the natural
just take
resources.
the resources. Yeah.
Something just hit me when we were talking about the RV convoy.
That is an RV.
Yes. Cousin Eddie drives the exact same kind of Winnebago.
Is it the same one from National Lampoon?
Well, the Winnebago decals were a different color, but
Yeah.
it could have been 20 years later. But it was a Winnebago.
Well, and Eddie does have a plate in his head, so he could have been a Vietnam vet.
Exactly. He
And
was
so-
on the GI Bill, so don't want to mess his part up. So he kind of played off of this movie.
Well, because Christmas Vacation was what, like 88 or something,
Was
or
it that early?
or
I guess
maybe
it was,
89
yeah,
or
just in
something.
case, yeah.
So 10 years later, he gets
He's
to be the,
driving another RV down, but this time through the desert, and they live in the desert.
and his wife died. So
Oh,
wild connection,
I gotta look up
Doug.
something. I gotta look. You can't move off this point. And I know you can edit this. At
Oh,
any
it's
time,
fine. It's fine.
But
Wild connection, Doug.
there's something here I
just
want to look up with
hit me in the
Donnie
face.
Darko.
Yeah, go for it.
oh,
There's a deep cut here. I'm pretty sure. You got to give me a minute to.
Oh, you're
the
good.
Donnie Darko connection.
Yeah, this is going to be big if true.
I do have to say when they were killed, when the president says to kill him or kill the alien,
Yeah.
that was a crazy how they were just like they all pulled out their guns. And just
Well, that
blowing
was
them
just
away.
like definitely an alpha male movement, and there's like, and that.
All right, I got it. No, go ahead.
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
no. We were trying to
But
fill
one
space.
guy's
You go
like,
ahead.
"Is that glass bulletproof?" When
No, sir.
And then boom, everybody pulls out their 45.
All right, listen to this. This is a deep cut.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
And
Let's
I
hear it.
remembered this watching it last year that I went and looked this up, so I confirmed it again. We mentioned that Mary McDonnell, who is in this movie, was also in Donnie Darko.
Mm-hmm.
There's another character in this movie who's also in Donnie Darko. Are you ready for this, Doug? This is going to blow your wig, man. Frank from Donnie Darko. I
told you Frank was a hero.
The kid, Frank, who makes the mask
Yeah.
in Donnie Darko and who's Maggie Gyllenhaal's boyfriend. Frank went to go get beer. That Frank.
Is he the son?
He's the son.
The middle son?
of Cousin Eddie in ID4. He's Miguel.
Pull it over, man.
Yeah, because I remember watching this movie last year and I saw Miguel and I said, that's Frank from Donnie Darko. And sure enough, IMDb confirms it, right?
When was Donnie Darko?
Donnie Darko was 01. It came out just a few
5
days
years
after.
later.
It came out just a few days after 9/11.
Oh yeah.
That's when we get the first introduction of him getting his sister at the drive-in.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
So
that's cool.
there you go, another
Nice little
Donnie
tie-in.
Darko connection.
Two characters.
Teasing the Donnie Darko one we do. It's been an ongoing.
Where are we?
for
Scene
years.
5?
Yeah, let's go ahead and move on to scene 5. All right, so Captain Hiller takes a helicopter. They attempt to nuke one of the ships over Houston. The bombing fails. Hiller finds Jasmine and the survivors. The president's wife dies. Julius gives David the idea for a virus to take out alien shields. Everyone in the world begins to use Morse code to organize a counteroffensive. They begin to recruit everyone they can to... I missed a word there. They can fly the planes. Hiller and Jasmine get married. So, okay, let me say this. So, whoever was in one of the they gave a review, they said that this is like a full-blown American movie. And I do agree with that, but also, literally, it's the entire world.
Yeah.
They literally bring the entire
Especially at the
world.
end of the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
They bring the entire world together to destroy the alien force.
America figures out how to destroy him.
Yes.
And then they let everybody know.
So to say this is just a American movie and that's this is a world movie because they're trying to survive.
Hey, Independence Day is no longer an American holiday.
Yes.
What the president says. That guy just totally
Dude, yeah,
missed
he
the
didn't
point.
get it.
Yeah.
He didn't get it.
So the scene that takes place at Houston, where they try and nuke one of the ships, you know it's not going to work.
Yeah, it's way too early in the
Even as
film.
you're watching it, you're like, this is not going to be the way that we defeat the aliens.
Because I think it was only like an hour and a half into the movie.
Yeah.
So there's still another hour of the movie left.
That's when you got your Weasley the assistant to the president.
Yes. That guy.
It worked. It worked.
He definitely was a weasel.
Yeah.
And his whole firing scene, that was probably...
Well, he was the one that was always like trying to influence the president, saying, let's just go ahead and nuke them. Let's try it again. It'll work on the second time.
Yeah, and he knew all about Area 51,
Yeah.
but the president didn't.
It was, what did he say?
Think
it was
about your reelection.
Plausible deniability.
Yeah, plausible deniability. It was a need to know. Yeah.
So, another thing about this scene is they get married in the base or Area 51 base, right?
Yeah.
They get married.
Yeah.
It's like a makeshift wedding.
A little chapel in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a little a sweet little hokey scene.
Little human moment, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was after they found out, hey, we're going to fly this. That was the whole idea. They're going to fly the plane they repaired in the 50s to, and that's when they did the whole shooting the Coke can, the old classic Coke can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is where they concoct the plan.
Yeah.
That sets up the end of the movie where Jeff Goldblum and Will Smith are going to fly that alien aircraft from Area 51
To the
mothership and upload a computer virus
Yeah.
into the mothership to disarm the shields, which is a pretty cool plot twist because at this time in 1996, nobody really understood. Like the average person didn't know what a computer virus was. Only your super nerdy people really got what that was all about. So
And they were in the basement.
there was a little bit of explanation that had to happen for John and Jane Q. Public there to understand.
Yeah, this
what
wasn't your AOL time, you know.
Yeah, so this is where they concoct the plan, the master plan.
One thing I noticed was when they, after he got the idea, after David got the idea to plant the virus, they were like, we don't even know if this thing flies anymore. So they release it off the clamps and it flies. I noticed I thought it was a really awesome detail that they showed that they repaired the ship over the years because you could actually see bolted plates
Yeah.
on the bottom of the ship.
completely
I thought that was
different
pretty
from-
awesome.
Now, this
alien,
is one of the huge plot holes right here. Because you talk about uploading the computer virus to the mothership. How are we going to do this? Do they have?
They got Windows 98 out.
Yeah, we got like Windows 95 technology here, and we're using floppy
But they
disks.
got Windows Vista up there.
And we're going to upload a virus onto their ship using a floppy disk or, a CD or whatever. This
With
is
a
the part.
Motorola flip phone.
Yeah, this is the part of the movie where, yes, it does defy all logic. Like,
By then you're already bought into
Yeah.
it.
I guess the only thing you could really say, if you really want to think about it, is that I guess David was using our own satellites back at him because they were using our satellites against us. So that's the only thing I could really think of.
yeah.
That's when he went,
Where's the USB port on this thing, man?
I don't know. Maybe there was a
HDMI
little
cable.
maybe there was a little Wi-Fi antenna on that ship they put in there.
Man, this mothership's got great
Well,
Wi-Fi.
they did put an antenna on.
They didn't even know what Wi-Fi was in
They
1996.
did put the little chrome antenna, and he hit a button and it went beep.
Yeah, that's
It's going
right.
to go through space, and it's got this little 5-inch antenna that extends.
I forgot
to like
about
8,
that.
sticking on there with a big old thermonuclear weapon stuck to the side of
Yeah.
it, and they just don't notice.
This is the part of the movie where it totally strains all credibility. Like when you're 12 years old, you fully buy into it, but now you look at it and you're like, yeah, I don't know.
Just
about
keep
that.
going.
Just
Well,
don't
okay.
think too hard.
Did you
about it.
notice that a lot of the code and a lot of the stuff we see on the ship look just like the Matrix?
Well, this was
It's green, right? It's that
3 years
black and
before?
green
Yeah,
font.
that scrolling.
Yeah.
You through there like it's decoding. It's
Was
supposed
it-
to be the encrypted.
Was it just me, or you reminded me of that antenna? Was it just me, or was it the same antenna that the Penguin used on the Batmobile in Batman Returns? Remember when he punched through the floor of the floorboard and he's trying to grab
Yeah.
that little? Was it the same thing?
I don't know, but that would be a deep cut if they just happen to have that laying around.
That would be pretty awesome.
You said that put a little Wi-Fi, and I was like, oh yeah, they did put a little antenna on it.
Well, they did say that was the only way they could get it from Earth to.
Yeah, they's like, well, we're going to broadcast. Look, it's got a remote. Boop.
You guys got anything else for this scene? Anything else you want to mention?
And it was, they talk about David, but it was actually David's father that come up with, gave him the idea because he was getting a cold. From
Okay,
traveling.
so one thing I will mention, I did like the scene where David has them to turn the shields on, and then they shoot the Coke can like you were talking about, and it scares the crap out of everybody.
Yeah. Ding, ding,
He's
ding,
like,
ding.
"Oh, sorry," and I thought that scene was pretty funny.
He's like, okay, try it again.
He just types it in, and I'm thinking, didn't you just turn the shields off? I mean,
So here's a great team up here. You've got the odd couple. You've got the computer geek and the military pilot.
Captain America, yeah.
It takes both of them to combine their brain and their brawn to take down a greater enemy.
And you know what? We glazed over the part where Captain Hiller has always wanted to be in NASA, and he keeps getting
oh yeah,
what is he called? Not decline.
his turn.
He gets turned down every time.
He gets turned on every time.
Yeah, because his friend's the one that reads him the letter.
Yeah, we're sorry, Captain Hiller.
So now he's actually officially gone to space.
Doesn't make the cut.
Yeah.
Okay, Derek. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, me and Doug were talking about this. We were talking about
The doctor?
The doctor.
Okay.
He comes back in the second one.
Oh my gosh.
He's alive in the second movie. Yeah.
They just because apparently in this, if I remember right, because I only saw it once, but he's like in a coma.
He's been in a
And
coma
then
for
when
X
the
amount of years.
They saved his brain in a jar.
Well, like he's in a coma, and then when the aliens come back, he wakes up.
He's like the ship. He wakes up.
Wow, that's terrible. That's really bad.
Derek, you might just need to watch it so we can hear your feedback.
Just to watch it.
Oh boy.
All right, do you guys want to move on? Final scene.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So final scene: the president delivers his Independence Day speech.
Epic.
Which is very epic. It gave me chills just listening to that speech.
Yeah.
Hiller and David prepare for their final assault on the mothership. They enter the mothership, plant the virus, drop the nuke, and return to Earth. Meanwhile, the military engages in a global battle against the alien ships. Russell sacrifices himself by flying his ship into the laser, destroying the alien ship. Earth is saved.
All right, so this final scene is not only epic and entertaining, but it is hilarious. Especially Mr. Quaid's part.
Oh,
his role, like he
sitting there-
becomes the ultimate hero at the end. And I
Well,
love
it's just
it.
it just
Still drunk.
well, he's still drunk.
Yeah.
But it just happens that his rocket is stuck,
Yeah.
malfunctioning. Well, gotta sacrifice myself.
Yeah.
It was great
And that's
though.
when he gets that one saying, "Tell my kids that I love them."
Hello, boys.
Yeah,
I'm back.
That is comedic gold. It's so over the top and so hokey. It's just hilarious.
Spoiler, that's my favorite line of the...
That's your favorite
That's like the one
Yeah.
that, I'm back. You know,
Up yours. But I love that scene because it gives this side character. He's really not a main player in the movie. He's just a normal guy. He's almost there for comedic relief, but he becomes the major.
savior.
He becomes the hero.
He redeems himself by sacrificing
You
himself.
totally redeem yourself.
because this certain ship, I guess it came from L.A. I guess it's the L.A. one.
Yeah.
it was headed to Area
it's Area 51 to blow up Area 51.
And they the first part of the plan does work. They send the virus, shuts down the shields, but the alien ships are so massive they can't do enough damage with missiles to bring it down. And that's when you find out when he flies into the bomb and blows up their weapon.
Yeah,
it ignites the whole. It's kind of like the Death Star.
Well, it's probably almost like you're throwing a grenade at a battleship. I mean, it's probably just not doing anything.
Yeah. But you stick it down the barrel.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the scene where Jeff Goldblum and Will Smith are entering into the mothership.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool.
It's a really well shot for the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's mysterious, and you get a size of how huge this thing is. It's cavernous on the inside.
And it shows
and
the invasion forces. Of
This, and you got to think, this is what the ships that blew up all the cities were attached to.
Yeah, they come out of that thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then they park they sort of park their vessel
Yeah.
to upload the virus.
Autopilot.
And you see you see the one alien like sitting at his
Yeah.
computer terminal and they're trying not to get caught.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, so he's just a cubicle alien. Like that's
He's a
just
cubicle
He's,
alien.
he's just doing his job for the day.
I don't know. You just made me think of the Office Space. TPS reports.
I'm gonna burn this place down. I could listen to my radio at a reasonable volume.
That's him right
Stephen
there.
Root's character. Yeah, but I don't know. It's just sort of a funny little.
Yeah.
The whole end of the movie is, I won't say anticlimactic, but to me it's funny. It's funny just as much as it is entertaining, and the movie is put together in such a way that in the beginning, like it wants you to take it seriously, but as you get toward the end of the movie, it lightens up, and it wants you to laugh and not take it so serious.
You know, you also
the
see
full range of emotion.
Yeah.
you also see throughout this entire movie, we are so helpless in the first half of the movie, and then we're finally able to fight back and eventually destroy them at the end.
I could totally see how a modern kid today could watch this movie and just tear it to shreds and be like, "That's so stupid. It's so hokey. It's dated, and I hate it."
Well,
but for some reason, I don't know. I just think it works. Like
It does.
you have this smorgasbord of action and sci-fi and comedy.
Everything they mixed
and
together, it was lightning in a
it
bottle.
mixed together in this formula, and for me, it just works. It's fun.
So I will say I mentioned this earlier, but I'm still just amazed by all the miniatures, by all the CG. Yes, it was 1996, but I still think it holds up for 1996.
I think it's because of the practical mixing with it.
Well, and I think that's exactly what it is, because I was actually watching Star Wars: The Phantom Menace the other day, or a couple weeks ago. I think the CGI.
There's always a bigger fish.
I think that CGI night sucks. Honestly, I think it looks bad. I don't know when last time you guys watched it, and I think it looks bad.
Well, that's but they were trying to go full CG.
Well, it must be, because in this, I think it looks really good. I mean, like I said, there's a few bad parts, but it's just like I think it really looks good though.
So after they plant the virus and they're trying to escape, that's a pretty cool scene of them exiting the mothership, and they're trying to close the doors and trap them in.
Smith yell.
And I love the aliens. Apparently, they don't have brakes. They just crash right into the doors. Such advanced technology, but they're just going to crash right into the door.
And he gives the line, Elvis has left the building.
Yeah. I mean, it's got some pretty good one-liners in it, too, which was a calling card going back to the 80s of the action movies, and this one's definitely got that. So the movie sort of ends with, okay, we've learned how to take these things down, and then they start communicating with all the other countries, and you start seeing...
Which I thought was a very good scene.
You start seeing the ships going down over Africa and Europe and different parts of the world.
Yeah, they were all using Morse code. And
yeah.
Well, it was kind of funny to me is like it shows them getting like in Africa, but they're all wearing like tribal gear, but they got Morse code right here.
Yeah.
It's the advanced people.
It's like got the spear,
Yeah, a little stereotyping going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doug, for some reason, you made me think of an airplane when the guy's hitting the drum, and he uses
trying to
different
tell
sticks.
everybody. Instead of it's an emergency, they just hand him the shorter sticks. Uh-oh.
Well, okay, so we didn't even mention this, but the president's speech is so just epic. I think it holds up so well today. I don't know who wrote it. I'm sure it was one of these guys.
It's so good. I mean, like, no president ever could say this without him saying, "Oh, you ripped off Independence Day." Oh, okay.
Well, we got to go through an alien attack and find out.
So I've got it here. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
And I can't do the Bill Pullman version, but good morning. In less than an hour, our aircraft from here will join others from around the world, and we will be launching the largest aerial battle in the history of mankind. Mankind. That word should have new meaning for all of us today. We can't be consumed by our petty differences anymore. We will be united in our common interests. Perhaps it's fate that today is the 4th of July, and you will once again be fighting for our freedom. not from tyranny, oppression, or persecution, but from annihilation. We're fighting for our right to live, to exist. And should we win this day, the 4th of July will no longer be known as an American holiday, but as the day the world declared in one voice, we will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive. Today, we celebrate our Independence Day.
Dude, that's so good. Yeah.
Now, that is the most hoorah
Oh yeah.
America moment. But we have been saying, it's not just an American thing. It's supposed to be for
The world.
the whole world.
Yeah. Well,
And all those pilots in front of them, they would have took on the entire other alien planet after that. Or like,
But the guy that reviewed it and was like down on it being pro-America, like, dude, you got to understand, in the 80s and 90s, that's the way so many of the movies were.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody was more pro-America than Arnold.
Yeah.
Or Stallone.
dude, Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris.
immigrant. Was
It didn't matter what country he was going in, he was killing everybody.
Yeah,
America.
that's the way. I mean, you call it naive, you could call it, brainwashed, but there was a real patriotism
Oh,
in
yeah.
the country at that time. And
Top
it was,
Gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this movie touched on that big time. And like you guys said, even as a kid, you hear that speech, you want to stand up and be like, ah!
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me in theaters. I don't remember, but in theaters, I'm surprised people didn't stand up and just cheer.
Oh, I guarantee it happened. could you imagine there being an actual base somewhere and they all went to see that movie and that speech?
I'm sure. I'm surprised. It wouldn't surprise me if this was actually shown like they showed it to the military and stuff
I'm
like
sure
that.
they did.
Well, there was a thing about Michael Bay, and he gets crapped on a lot for the way that he makes movies,
Explosions.
all his action sets. But like this movie, the Michael Bay movies, they all present the U.S. military in a very positive light. Yeah. And I think in some of the movies, Michael Bay even gets permission from the military to use the people and the vehicles.
Well, I think in a lot of all those Transformers movies, I think it's besides the main actors, most of them are actual military guys.
People off the bases when they were filming. I know it was the big deal for them to actually have the F-22 on film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they had to get so much permission because nobody had ever really seen it.
Yeah.
And it had that rear engine that would fly straight up.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's the thing with Michael Bay movies is you want to go in for a action-packed, blow-em-up movie.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going there for Godfather or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody went to
Which
go
is
see
exactly
Rocky
what
IV.
this movie was.
Yes,
this was a
exactly. Drago
popcorn
knocking
movie.
Popcorn
for the summertime.
blockbuster movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did anybody go to see Drago knock Rocky out? No.
Right.
You want to see him in Apollo's American body. I mean, next to the president, when Apollo come out to fight Drago, that was probably right there with it. When he was sitting, when it had James in the background singing, what's the name of that song?
James Brown.
In America?
Made in America? Was
In
it
America.
Made in America?
Yeah.
Made in America, yeah.
Ha! Knock you out.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
I was literally just watching
Living in America.
I was just watching Blues Brothers with the whole James Brown scene at the church.
Dude. Yeah, that was probably,
I must break you.
if he dies, he dies.
Okay, real quick, it actually has nothing to do with this movie, but do you want me to go ahead and tell you what happens to Will Smith's character in the second one?
Totally.
Okay, so he's not in it. I told you.
Spoiler alert.
He's not even in it. They kill his character. He gets killed in they're testing out new planes or something, and he gets killed off screen.
Testing him.
Yeah, testing him. So they have his son as
The kid from this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Supposedly.
pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so he's the main character now in the new one.
Gotcha.
Jeff Goldblum comes back. I mean, everybody's back in it, just not Will Smith.
I think if you have to start a movie off with killing the main character off screen, that's
It's bad.
It's going to be bad.
I mean, it's really and the president or the ex-president, he's like a hermit now. Like he's living in like a a bunker.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, he's got a beard and everything. I'm like,
Apparently, the mind control they did to him messed him up so
Yeah.
bad. But he gave the greatest speech.
yeah, it was.
It's kind of like Iron Eagle 2.
All right, we're talking about a good movie.
Masters. In the opening scene. Come on.
All right, back to the good movie. You guys got anything else for this final scene? Anything else?
Well, I mean, other than we didn't really talk about. We talked about what he did, but when he flies his ship up into.
Oh well, I guess also we didn't mention that the president, he actually flown in a ship or a plane too.
Yeah.
He wanted to be part of it.
He
'cause
tells
was-
this guy, "I'm a combat fighter."
Yeah, because that's what he was during. Was it Desert Storm? I think he was in Desert Storm. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, because that was what 93. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
about right.
Yeah, so we mentioned he was in it, but then he sacrifices himself. That was an awesome when the ship touched the laser as it was going up.
Oh yeah,
That was pretty awesome.
reverse chain reaction.
Yeah. All right. So we're good there. So. All right, so I'm going to read our world famous category that Derrick loves so much.
Did not know that.
The iconic scene of Will Smith's line, "And what the hell is that smell?" wasn't in the original script, but became a famous and hilarious scene. Smith's character drags the unconscious alien across the desert and comments on the particular smell, which was improvised due to the actual scent of the Great Lakes. The decomposing brine shrimp near the filming location in Utah's Great Salt Lakes caused the pungent odor.
Nice.
I'm dragging you across the desert with your dreads hanging out of the back of my shoe. And what the hell is that smell? I could have been at a barbecue. Yeah,
Doug, why didn't you just do the whole movie?
that was cool.
All right. All right, so we're going to do our closing here. So, Doug, what's your number one quote or your favorite quote of the movie?
That was definitely when he sacrifices himself and,
Oh, that's right.
"Hey boys, I'm back." When he flies,
Yeah.
that was pretty awesome.
Derrick, what about you? Favorite?
I got to go with the president's speech that I read earlier. I mean, it's
Yeah.
hard to top that.
I mean, I don't know. I kind of got to go with what the hell is that smell? I just love it's such a iconic, funny scene. But yeah, I think,
Turns around and starts kicking it.
well, because like we talked about, this was the heyday of Will Smith. This was this was definitely his biggest moment right here. He had so much going.
Bad
this-
Boys was pretty close to this too, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this was like '90s was like Will Smith's thing.
Prime
I mean,
time,
prime time. Yeah. Derrick, what about best part of the movie for you?
Best part of the movie, for me, has got to be the destruction of all the cities. I love that, and of course, those are the most iconic ones, especially the White House,
Yeah.
because up to that point, and we'd never seen anything like that done on screen. So they still stand up today.
Oh yeah. Doug, what about best part of the movie for you?
Man, there's so many small parts that just. But I think the one of my favorite parts of the movie is the chemistry between Will Smith and Henry Connick Jr., his co-pilot.
Yeah.
You just tell they're best friend when he finds a ring and he you got to get down right at booty level when you try to tell him how to ask her to marry him.
And that guy walks in.
The guy walks out of the shower. He's like, "Oh, don't ask, don't tell." Yeah, just that right there. That was probably one of my favorite parts.
All right. So, Derrick, we did yours, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So mine, I'm gonna say probably the Welcome to Earth scene. He takes down the ship and then he opens it up and sees the little tentacles everywhere.
You have to do the sound.
And welcome to Earth. Boom. So that's probably my favorite scene. But Doug, what about your favorite character?
Dennis Quaid's character.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine too.
Yours too?
Yeah.
Just because of what I said earlier, like he's not really a main
Yeah.
hero. You don't think of him that way, but in the
He's
end,
like a B character.
yeah, he's a B character, but he steals the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just a dad with issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's worried about his family.
Yeah.
I'm honestly going to say David's character, Jeff Goldblum's character. I don't know. I like Jeff Goldblum a lot. Anyways, I like a lot of his movies, but yeah, I think he was my favorite character in that movie. All right, let's do. Doug, you want to give your final thoughts and score?
Final thoughts. This movie is just, it's going to go down. I mean, it already has. It's always one of the, anytime you see this movie on, I could sit down and start watching it. It doesn't matter
Yeah, I agree.
what part you missed. Somebody could start in the last 10 minutes, first 10 minutes, it doesn't matter. It's going one of them iconic films.
Yeah.
And all of us in here happen to be lucky enough to be at an age where we remember seeing this film in the theaters and getting the way they envisioned it with the sound and just
totally.
like we were talking about the bass in them speakers and it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's always going to be it's definitely one of my top 5 movies for sure of all time.
Really?
Yeah. Definitely up there.
I didn't think you ranked it that high.
Oh yeah, it's a classic.
Yeah.
It's like an instant classic. And I'm gonna give it, say, out of 5. Let's see. You want to do fireworks instead of popcorn bucket?
That's fine. Yeah. I don't think we've done popcorn buckets in a while.
Yeah. Let's see you out.
How many bottle rockets
How many bottle rockets?
How many alien endoskeletons you got, Doug?
How many? The M80 grenades?
How many spaceships you
M80
got?
fireworks? I'm gonna say 4 out of 5.
4 to 5. Okay. Derrick, score and final thoughts or whichever.
Yep. Final thoughts. This movie is a lot of fun. It's got comedy, it's got action, it's got sci-fi, and it's just a blast from beginning to end. Again, I know that I have the nostalgia factor, and nostalgia is a powerful drug. However,
So it's cocaine.
rewatching it recently, the movie holds up. It has the strong acting. The characters, I know they're not very deep, but it's not that kind of movie. But the actors each play their role well. Yeah, it's got its cheese factor here and there, but it doesn't take away. Yeah, it doesn't take away from the movie in any way.
Like this is sharp cheddar cheese.
Yeah, it's just a really enjoyable, fun movie. If you watch it for what it is, which is a popcorn summer movie, you're gonna enjoy it. And is it perfect? No. Is it the greatest action movie of all time? No. But it's definitely worth watching and rewatching. And so I'm gonna rate it a little bit lower than Doug, but I'm gonna go 3.5.
3.5
out of 5. And it's just a great time capsule movie of the mid-90s. And I recommend it.
Oh yeah, it's got one of the best rewatchability factors you could think of. I mean, you think of some of your favorite movies you watch once a year, you could watch this 2 or 3 times a year.
Do you put this on the same category as Battlefield Earth?
It's up there. It's up there. I mean, I'll put it this way: if we'd all showed up here and it had been playing on TV, we'd probably still be sitting in there watching it. We wouldn't have started recording yet. It's just got one of the movies you just get drawn to. You're like,
That's a possibility. So, like I told you guys earlier, I hadn't seen this movie in a while, but this was definitely a staple in our household growing up. I mean, like I said, VHS, we watched it all the time. We probably wore that VHS out. And I do remember you could actually take out that hologram thing. And like, I think I even had that thing hanging on my wall or something.
Yeah, it had like that rubber cement holding it to where it wouldn't tear.
Yeah.
They thought about that.
Well, I also wanted I was thinking like you could slide it out and it just had a picture of the explosion already behind it.
Take the hologram off and it still had the picture behind it.
So like I said, this was a staple. Love this movie, but I hadn't seen it in forever, and I actually forgot how amazing this movie is. And again, like I said, it's 2.5 hours long, but it didn't feel like it was 2.5 hours long.
Yeah, it's got a good pacing.
It felt like an action-packed 88 minutes.
Well, it was just nonstop.
Yeah.
We talked about that, but it's just nonstop going. I mean, there was no downtime in it. Maybe the wedding scene was probably the downtime, but it was just nonstop. So I love this movie. I'm just gonna give it maybe a 4.25.
Wow.
So give me 1 second here.
So the IMDb was 7, and the critic score on Tomato Meter was 68. Audience score 75. So
we're giving it a 3.91.
there you go.
That's good. Up there. Yeah.
We're right there with what you might see online.
Yeah, that audience score, right? Yeah, it was 75.
Audience score was 75.
I got a feeling most of the people that wasn't happy with this movie just
Didn't
aren't
get it.
happy with anything.
Yeah, they didn't get it.
Yeah.
Now, to the issue of the sequel, this was a movie that I felt like didn't need a sequel.
No.
It's good. This is a standalone. And this was a hallmark of 80s and 90s movies where you got good standalone movies. Like, this isn't meant to be a franchise.
No.
It was just going to be a one-off.
Yeah.
And obviously it blew it out of the water. It was a very successful thing. And I wish that we could get more of that.
Yeah.
A lot of studios, they don't want to do that anymore. They don't want to do a one-off. They want a franchise they're going to be able to milk to death for years and years.
Spread it into 7 movies.
But, the only reason they made a sequel is because basically Hollywood is bankrupt on ideas, and they just were searching for something they could remake.
Yeah.
This isn't a movie that needed to be a sequel or it's good to stand alone, right? For what it is.
Yeah.
Well, and my thing with that sequel is if you can't get your main star back, like your big star of that movie, and Will Smith was at the time was still popular. Why would you still make it if you can't get him back? I think that is such a cop out when you kill off your main character just because you can't get him back.
Probably because this movie, that second one failed so bad. Now they write contracts where, okay, you're locked in to make 1, 2, and 3.
But you could see why Will Smith wouldn't want to come back.
Yeah.
Because
'cause
the
it
movie's
finished.
good enough
It didn't
as it
need
is. Like it doesn't
finished
need
here,
anymore. Yeah. So
All right. You guys got anything else for the movie? Well, we're good. Yeah, so 3.91's good. It's a good score. All right. That's all for today's episode, folks. We hope you enjoyed our fight for our fight for our lives in the world of 1996's Independence Day. Join us next time on Video Rental as we tackle another classic movie. Until then, stay cinematic and remember, all you need is love. John Lennon, smart man, shot in the back. Very sad.
Wait. You know what you're doing?
Yeah. I've knocked that Adolf Hitler over 200 times.
That's how Dad did it. That's how America does it.
Okay, USA's.
Go ahead. Make my day.
God bless America.